Previously on Has to Do with Spider-Man, I think.
One day, on a busy morning at the diner, filled with chatter and conversation, Judas comes in for breakfast.
How are you doing this fine morning, Mr. Kaine?
Fine, Pastor. What can I get you?
The usual. Been burning the midnight oil on my next sermon series. Looking forward to our next meeting.
Judas eats his breakfast, drinks his coffee, and leaves. It's only then that Kaine notices that, while Judas was in the diner, the conversation completely stopped. As if a sheet is lifted, the chatter gradually begins again, leaving the young man stunned. Kaine begins to pay closer attention to the townsfolk during the church services. Verses are repeated verbatim with no pauses. No one speaks while Judas preaches. No one breaks eye contact. No one except himself, Bella, and Carol Jennings. It might be time to visit. Cut to the street. Kaine, face covered by a hoodie, surveys the neighborhood. Finding the yellow house with the red picket fence, Kaine knocks at the door. Carol Jennings answers and beams.
Well, finally. I've been hoping you'd stop by for ages. Come on in, come on in. The cookies are just coming out of the oven.
Cookies?
I always have a fresh batch going just in case someone stops by.
Do people often stop by?
Well, I have 5 cookie jars on my shelf filled to bursting. At this point, it's just a bad habit.
Carol ushers Kaine inside, glancing at the street suspiciously. She closes the door, glaring all the way. The second the door is shut, however, Carol's demeanor completely changes. More stately, motherly.
You still look like you've hardly eaten a thing in your life. These cookies will be just perfect for a growing boy.
Mrs. Jennings, I really couldn't.
If you're in my house, you're not leaving until you're full. Full stomach, full spirit. That's what I always say.
Carol moves away, leaving Kaine to investigate her home. While small, Kaine appreciates the finer details of the abode. The walls are bright yellow, cultivating a spring-like atmosphere. Absolutely covering the walls are pictures of Mrs. Jennings and who Kaine assumes is her husband, children, and grandchildren, all at different stages. There's true joy there. That is, until the hospital pictures. Kaine watches a story unfold as the presumed Mr. Jennings falls ill, loses weight and hair at an alarming rate. The final picture on Carol's mantle is of Carol holding Mr. Jennings' hands as they both smile for the camera. Mr. Jennings' eyes and cheeks are sunken with disease, but there is no less happiness on his face. Carol's face is puffy and streaked with tears. The picture sits next to a metallic cross just above the fireplace.
Oh, he was a fighter.
Kaine turns. Carol is in the living room doorway, holding a tray of cookies and orange slices.
He'd beat it once, but it came back fiercer than ever. He joked that, if it takes me down this time, at least it'll be going down with me. Awful joke. Just awful.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, son, believe me, so was I. We tried everything we could. About drove myself crazy looking into any cure I could find. But Mark wouldn't have it. He was looking out for me until the very end.
Carol leads Kaine into the kitchen, where another plate of fresh cookies with yellow icing awaits.
Take as many as you'd like. Please, sit.
Kaine does just that, takes a seat.
Thank you.
Anytime, sweetie.
Kaine eats his cookies silently. He's never been in a home this bright. There is life here. Well, he hasn't. Someone else has.
What was that?
Nothing. It's nothing.
Carol gives the young man a look. She takes her own cookie.
Mark and I have lived here our whole lives. Mark helped build First Baptist, even. You never know what a place is going to turn into.
What do you mean?
Have you ever felt angry, Kaine?
Birds chirp outside. Cain blinks and blinks again.
Yes, ma'am.
I turned to God when I got angry. Well, more like I turned to Pastor Traveler. I demanded that my mark be fixed, or else. I never quite figured out what or else would be. Judas wrung us dry. He kept me in the palm of his hand for a year, promising with that magic of his that he'd get it fixed.
He didn't.
He didn't. My mark still passed away. It made me angrier.
Why are you still here?
The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 17. Mark's favorite. Cain, I knew that it wasn't God that betrayed me. I've known that my whole life. He brought me and Mark together and gave us 54 beautiful years together. He'd beat it once, and we were given even more time together. More than we deserved. And then that pain, it's gone now. He's where he needs to be, and I'll be there with him yet.
I see.
I'm not sure you do, Cain. It wasn't God that betrayed me. It was Pastor Traveler. The man has this town wrapped around his finger and is bleeding it dry. And for whatever reason, he's taken a liking to you.
He's been helping me understand things about my past. Dark things.
Or is he bringing these things to light so that he controls your every move?
Cain pauses, mouth half full of cookie.
There's something about you, Cain. You've got weight on your shoulders that most people, even my age, don't ever have to bear. That weight can pull you down if you don't know how to carry it.
Carol stands, prompting Cain to stand as well.
Take it from an old bat who's seen Judas's tricks firsthand. He makes you wallow in your past pain so he can offer himself a sugar pill to free you. That's not scripture.
So why are you still in the church?
To help folks like you.
Cain nods.
And you can keep the cookies, by the way.
As Cain leaves Carol's house, Carol hugs him. Cain freezes. This is the first hug he has ever felt in this body.
You be good now.
I'll try.
Carol releases the young man, and he walks down the front steps, carrying a cookie jar full of lemon cookies and wiping tears from his eyes. Good job, Peyton.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Cut to the open road as the sun goes down. Cain is in the backseat of Brett's truck, fighting back exhaustion. Every time he closes his eyes, the image of Dr. Warren crosses his vision, cackling in the night. You alright, son? Cain shakes himself.
Fine. Just,
You don't have to pretend around us, Cain. We're your pals. Bros, even. Brett flexes dramatically and Bella rolls her eyes.
I don't know if those recent sessions have been good for you, Cain. If your therapy isn't working, it might be time to take a break. Find a new therapist.
I'm sure Pastor hasn't handled. They've been working together for months now, and he's never looked. Brett glances in the mirror. You don't look great.
I'm fine.
There's the sound of a sickening squelch as blood explodes from Cain's chest. He lurches forward, holding his torso, then realizes he's okay. No blood.
Pastor says I'm close to a breakthrough.
I think we just need to get you home. Dad, can you stay with us tonight?
Well, wouldn't that be intruding on Pastor's hospitality?
Dad, I think you might feel better with us.
Cain screams in pain, suddenly, clutching his burn scars on his face. All he sees is the green liquid of his birth, searing his flesh. Brett swerves, surprised. You may have a point. Let's get you home.
Dad!
The screen lights up in a blinding white flash. There's a horrible sound of crunching metal and a horn cut off in the middle of sounding. Everything is in slow motion. And suddenly, Cain's vision is clear. Moving with speed he's almost never used, Cain leaps forward and grabs Brett and Bella from their seats and pulls them backward, exploding out of the truck's back window, just as the vehicle is crumpled by a semi. The three tumble backwards into a ditch on the side of the road. Cain knocks his head on a rock. Groggily, he comes to. The first sound he hears is Bella's sobbing. Bella kneels over Brett's body, a shard of glass from the front windshield buried deep in his chest. Kaine stumbles forward, visibly ill. He kneels on the opposite side of Bella and puts a hand on her shoulder. She cries long into the night. Transition to Kaine banging on Judas's door. The night is as quiet as the grave, aside from the thuds of Kaine's fists. He starts to leave an impression in the wood before Judas answers.
Kaine, I was just...
Fix me.
Huh?
Fix me. You said we're close to a breakthrough. Breakthrough. Show me how to fix myself. Show me how to get redemption.
Well, if you insist.
Laying on Judas's couch, Kaine stares at the ceiling. Judas has his Bible open, also staring blankly.
Brett is in a better place now.
I killed someone.
That was not your fault, Kaine. The semi...
Not Brett. Someone else.
Oh.
It was... I don't know how long ago. But I did it. I confess. Am I fixed yet?
Redeemed?
Yes, redeemed. Does God redeem me? Is that all he needs? A confession?
He slams his fist into the side of the couch. The house shakes. Judas looks up concerned.
He requires faith, Kaine. Faith to receive his grace. Please, share more. I can only help you if you let me in.
Fine. Just let me think this through. I was...
Aside from the twins, the clones, the dojo is sparse. 1 and 2 pace the floor, as the presence of Warren dances along shadows on the wall, cackling. Where 1 steps, glowing blue footprints remain on the ground. 2's glow red. May the best man win. This is a true Spider-Man versus Spider-Man duel. The duel is fast and frenetic, with each fighter using any available surface for leverage. 1 lands a clean punch on 2's face. In a flash, we see Kaine's scarred face take over 2's. Kaine is weeping.
Never mind. I don't want to be here. I want to leave.
How can you be redeemed if you're living in such great, great sin?
Judas?
2 takes back over, savagely lashing out at 1. When he leaps off the wall, hurling 1 with a suplex, the wall behind him crumples away into the void. Disembodied clawed hands emerge from the darkness, skittering around the dojo like spiders, coming ever closer to the 2 duelists. 1 is momentarily stunned by the blow, but rebounds and hurls himself forward, locking 2 in a chokehold, bringing him to the ground and webbing him in place. 2 is pinned. Kaine takes over again. You did great, bro. I'll get Dad in here to help clean you up.
Please. Please don't.
Is that what 1 said as well?
Warren's shadow stands over Kaine. Such a shame. We never expected it, of course, but it would be nice if you could win at least once or twice against your better half. The voice gets louder, shriller. Still, I'm glad we keep you around. It's like having a court jester, a stillborn lump playing at existence. Kaine and 2's faces begin to flash back and forth, as Kaine sobs and 2 becomes increasingly rageful. Maybe one day 1 will be rid of you, and we'll all be better off for it. With a disgusting sound, claws extend from 2's fingers. In a blinding flash, 2 slashes the webs holding him down, leaps up, and digs his claws into 1's chest. 1 coughs. Why are you... He coughs again, spraying blood. 2's claws retract, and 1 falls backward, dead. In fury, 2 roars and begins to savage the corpse of his brother, taking out all the rage of Warren's teaching. The dojo has completely worn away until the only platform in the void is the one that 2 and 1's body float upon, with the tiny skittering clawed hands underneath the platform reaching out for them. The shrill humming overtakes any remaining sound. 2 is ripped from the ground and held in space by 4 clawed limbs, digging into his shoulders and thighs. He screams. Where is your brother, mutant? Says Warren, off-screen. 2 is flung through the air, strapped to an operating table, and subjected to torture upon torture. Injections, surgeries, whatever Warren can do to make him hurt. You murdered the perfect son. The one who made this whole project complete, and you murdered him. You should never have been created. You were just a quirk at first, a neat little pet. Now you have no use other than breaking you apart piece by piece to see what makes you tick. There is no care given for Two's safety or comfort. One of Warren's experiments begins melting Two's face, for no real reason aside from sadism.
Stop. Stop. Let me go.
I was never one for Sunday school, but there are some ideas from that book worth mining. The death of the firstborn requires retribution, my poor little aberration. Consider it a mark. A Mark of Kaine. Warren chuckles, his shadowy hands wrapping around Two like snakes, suffocating him on the table. That will be your name from now on. Wear it with shame, my bastard wreck. Kaine reaches out from under the tentacles, pulling himself free one by one. As the last tentacle drops, he is by himself, stuck, once again, in the lab. Dressed in a hospital gown, he sinks to the floor and brings his knees to his chest. He glances at the tubes on the wall. One's has been smashed, the two above his own has been scratched away, replaced by his new name. C-A-I-N. Kaine. 3 and 4 are opaque with the swirling green liquid. Kaine crawls over to One's tube and picks up one of the shards of glass. Holding it up to his own face, he stares at the broken reflection of Peter Parker.
Sorry, brother. Please forgive me.
Kaine rises and moves towards pods 3 and 4, but is held back. He reaches for them, but his legs won't move. Grunting, he tries to throw himself forward, but he is stalled. Still, in the pods, he can just make out 2 hands reaching out for him. Kaine topples forward, smashing his face on the tiled floor. He winces, but notices something. Rising from the gaps between the tiles is a soft light and breeze. Considering his options, he grabs the edge of one tile and lifts it up, revealing a stairway. He steps down. The stairway leads him through the swirling void that has surrounded each of these visions. The pathway terminates at a massive cathedral sitting on a lonely platform in the void. It is Gothic in style, towering and imposing. It dwarfs First Baptist Plainview's church building. Stepping inside the chapel, Kaine gasps. The stone floor is pocketed with interesting rocks and geodes, the same from Judas' shelf, creating a patchwork mural. Along the high ceilings are beautiful stained glass effigies with strange subjects, each of the citizens of Plainview. There is Sheriff Jake and Helene and other townsfolk, each with serene but severe expressions on their faces. Nick and Tabby Duvall, the young couple, are positioned side by side, but their images face away from the other. Brett's image is all in black and white, with Bella's next to him, yet hers is reconstructing, rebuilding itself in real time. Kaine finds the mural of Carol Jennings and studies it closely, noting the glass panel depicting a picture of Mark Jennings. Yet there's a spot in the middle that seems to be missing a piece of glass. As he moves onward, he stops cold. Looking upwards over the stage, he sees another mural in progress, based on himself, yet surrounded by the faces of the 3 other clones, with a web connecting them all. Pieces of glass float in the void, waiting to be assembled. The work is not yet finished, but it will be soon. The doors of the church creak open. Kaine glances back and sees a hooded figure.
Out.
With a wave of his hand, Kaine flies backwards as on a string, hurling out the door, up the stairs, into the lab, and back into himself. Kaine rolls off the couch, leaps, immediately launches forward at Judas. His claws extend, pointed towards Judas' throat.
It's a shame you stumbled into all that.
You're a monster.
Judas puts his hands up, slowly, without a hint of fear.
I'm a teacher, Kaine. Or 2, if you prefer.
Kaine flinches as his claws cut into Judas's skin. A trickle of blood runs down his neck.
You wanted help facing your demons. How was I supposed to know that you had so damn many of them?
You're a pastor. You're supposed to be helping people, leading them, not controlling them.
I am helping, my friend. With the words of the blessed Jesus Christ, I absolve this town of its sins and give them some small measure of hope in their endlessly bleak lives. They barely exist if not for my power.
As brainwashed slaves?
As the sheep to my shepherd.
Kaine glowers, scraping Judas' neck even more.
I should kill you where you sit.
And deprive this town of a spiritual leader in this time of grief?
Kaine eases back before realization covers his face.
That's not fair.
Call it divine intervention.
Kaine stumbles backward, grimacing.
Look, before you accuse me of anything untoward, Brett's passing is tragic. Horrific, even. I would never think to lay a hand on any of these people. I care for them too much. They'll need someone to guide them, at least through the funeral. That's scheduled for Saturday, isn't it?
You're a monster.
I'm not the one who murdered a brother in cold blood due to simple, pure jealousy.
Cain screams, grabbing his forehead to steady himself. He falls to his knees.
How about this? After the funeral on Saturday, let's have another session. You might find that your feelings about me will be much changed by then.
Judas kneels and wraps Cain in a hug. The younger man shakes with a mix of rage, sorrow, and fear.
Let not your heart be troubled, Cain. I'll be glad to welcome you into the flock as soon as you're ready.
Go to hell.
I'll be sure to see you there.
End of Act 2.
Oh my gosh, Noah. It's peak. It's honestly more than peak. In fact, I have no words to describe how fond I actually am of this, and peak isn't doing it justice in the slightest. So even if I know it's not enough, I hope my admiration makes up for it.
Thanks, man. That's lovely.
Oh, it's good. Oh, it's really good. I love that it's such a different tone. It's paced a lot slower and more deliberately than anything else we've done, I think. And it works.
Sure.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
Absolutely.
So, Judas Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Big antagonist.
Big antagonist in the Clone Saga who exists for reasons. The Clone Saga lasted multiple years, so there were characters that just were created, existed, and then were in some cases never seen again in the time it took for the whole clone thing to go away. And Judas Traveler is one of the more odd ones.
He is a cult leader essentially in his appearance in the Clone Saga, and he has powers. I think he's a mutant in actual canon.
Mm-hmm.
And he has powers of suggestion. He has powers of visions. And he is very involved with testing characters and their morality. I found Judas in my research and knew exactly what I wanted to do with him. That is, play with ideas of controlling church leaders, confronting your past through visions, very religious story by combining the names of Cain and Judas. And yes, canonically, Cain's name here is spelled C-A-I-N, not K-A-I-N-E.
Yeah, you made it very clear in the build up to this. You showed us you explained a little bit about it, and I was like, is that something that's gonna like change? And you're like, no.
No.
I think at one point you outright said like, the spelling of Cain in the Clone Saga is very 90s and stupid, and I don't like it.
That is verbatim.
Fair.
But yeah, so that's that. The two scenes that I wrote first of this whole story was Cain coming to town in the very beginning, and then also the scene with Carol Jennings, which is one of the scenes that I am most proud of here.
I really like
so
that
good.
scene.
It was really good.
I think it has some of my best dialogue that I've written, and it is kind of the thesis of the story.
I love how she kind of not necessarily pulls him out of a funk necessarily, but like he was spending his pastime like just sitting quietly in a field, and when he got too mad, he would destroy the stuff around him. Nature, he put himself out in a place where he could just go to town on stuff. And then she shows him like the beauty that can be found in like the still moments and the beauty of nature, and it's like his biggest like maybe this isn't as it seems moment in Act 2.
My favorite line in this whole script is it's from Bella, where she says, "Beauty doesn't come from someone who despises the world around them."
Yeah, I like that, and I like the whole sort of creativity monologue of like being willing to create. I don't know, signifies that you have a good heart.
Yeah. And Carol is meant to be the like proof that faith is not all corrupt. She is a very, very God-fearing woman, but she is good, and she
Right.
knows maturely the pain that people face. And then Bella is meant to be a bit of like someone who doesn't really know what her faith is, but who still sees beauty in the world and wants the best for her father, who she thinks is being controlled clearly. But she provides a important perspective in this as well of someone who may not professing believer, but still someone who Cain needs to listen to.
Mhm.
And then Brett's death is also a scene that I am proud of.
I do really like the slow burn of this.
Mm-hmm. I will say we're probably running close to nearing on 2.5 hours for the recording.
Let's finish this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Act 3. A pall has been cast over Plainview following the death of Brett. More than that, the townsfolk are disturbingly subdued. Cain is running played good by himself. No one besides Cain is at the diner. Nothing is cooking on the flat top. Nothing can be heard aside from the odd passing car and the music over the loudspeaker. Once again, Cain feels completely and utterly alone.
Are you there?
The music continues playing. It is Johnny Cash's You Are My Sunshine.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it to Brett? Why'd you do it to me? Why do I even exist?
Cain sets his spatula on the stovetop and leans over the counter, bracing himself.
You claim to love us and you claim to watch out for your children. Then why him? Why someone good? When Warren and Judas get to destroy and corrupt everything around them. Will you answer me?
Cain slumps down against the shelves, head in his hands.
I killed him. He never did anything to hurt me. Just existed.
Cain tenses, and the claws extend from his fingertips as he rubs the scar on his face. He stares at the claws, wary of their power. They retract.
This is what he wants.
With effort, Cain stands. He dusts off his apron and picks up his spatula.
You wouldn't want this for me, would you? Brett wouldn't either.
The young man takes a deep breath. Cain is a whirl through the kitchen. Bacon is his first objective. He throws 3 slices onto the fire. As if second nature, he uses a web to grab tomatoes, green onions, and a bit of spinach, slicing them up with his claws. Next, eggs and cheese. He whisks them together in a quick mixture of milk and whatever spices he can find, before throwing them on the stovetop as well. Some light salt and pepper finish the dish, the best omelet Cain has ever made, with a side of bacon and a nice spinach salad.
Amen.
Cut to Cain walking up to Brett's house with a to-go box. He notes that there is no one at the house, which seems odd. Surely there would be visitors for Bella's sake? He knocks on the door. Bella answers.
Oh, hi, Cain.
Hello.
He clears his throat.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. I feel a whole lot better.
Oh, you do?
Of course. What do you have with you?
Cain reveals the omelet with a small grin on his face.
It was your dad's recipe. It's for you.
Bella sees the omelet. For a moment, a change crosses her face. A small semblance of recognition. She looks at Cain with love and appreciation before the veil falls again, and she looks at him robotically.
I appreciate that very much.
She takes the box from Cain's hand and walks inside without paying him any further attention.
Bella,
Oh, yes?
I'm sorry about what happened. I wasn't fast enough to save both of you. It's my fault Brett was killed.
Bella cocks her head.
Don't be sorry, Cain. Like I said, I feel much better. After all, it's all in God's timing.
With a smile that does not reach her eyes, Bella shuts the door in Cain's face, leaving the young man gaping.
Judas.
On the return trip from Bella's house, Cain notices more people out in town, but they're also docile, and no one acknowledges his presence. Usually so used to staying out of people's way, Cain deliberately goes up to a few.
Officer Jake, how are you doing today?
Just fine. Thank you.
No eye contact. No shift of the head. Nothing.
Tabby, are your, flowers doing okay?
Of course. Why wouldn't they be? Cain stands in the center of Main Street with no one looking his way. No one except... Cain rushes inside the diner and hops over the counter, replacing his apron and cap. A second later, the bell over the door rings, and in steps Carol.
How are you doing today, Mr. Cain?
A wash of relief floods Cain's face.
You can see me.
Of course I can. You're worth being seen.
Cain hides his face.
Can I take your order?
Transition to Cain and Carol eating together.
He did something to them, Carol. The people, they're not real anymore.
I was worried about that. I didn't get a single hello on the way into town.
I'm serious.
So am I. We've had death in this town before. Oh, sure we have. Remember Mark? But this is different. There's no mourning. There's no talk of everything Brett brought to this town. Poor Bella has shut herself up completely in that lonely house. It's not how these things should go, I tell you.
Cain looks out the window at the lifeless people in the square.
The funeral is tomorrow.
How are you holding up with all of this? I know how close the two of you were.
I don't know. I've been around death before as well, but this time
He leans back in his seat and stares at nothing.
I'm angry. Very angry. But more settled. He did so many good things for me. Don't want to let his death stop me from doing the same good things, you know? I want to be good. Like you said.
That's how it should be. The Lord is close to the heartbroken.
Carol places a hand on Cain's.
I'll be with you tomorrow. We can face that funeral and the good Pastor Judas together.
Cain nods resolutely. Cut to the church, the day of the funeral. The whole town has turned out for Brett's funeral, but no one else. There is no chattering. There is no sharing stories. The people are drones as they move to their seats. Bella worst of all. No expression can be read on her face. Judas greets everyone at the door wearing all black with his hair in a neat ponytail down his back. As Cain rises to the stairs, the two men shake hands.
It's lovely to see you here today, Mr. Caine. You know, you missed one of our sessions last night. I'll be willing to move some appointments around if you'd like to continue our work.
Cain manages a weak smile.
I don't think that will be necessary. I've faced my demons for long enough.
We never stop needing the light of the Lord, of course.
As soon as the funeral ends.
As soon as the funeral ends? As soon as the funeral ends, you'll be the thing you were predestined to be the minute you crash landed into Plainview. My son.
Cain ends the handshake and stalks into the church. Inside, the service begins. The casket, opened to show Brett's empty body, rests at the feet of the pulpit. The congregants don't look much more alive than Brett does. There's no sound, not a sob or a cough or a tissue blowing. Judas clears his throat with all the force of a bomb being dropped.
Why do bad things happen to good people? Question as old as time itself. Here we are, remembering our friend, the dearly beloved Brett Fishbach, once again asking that question for ourselves. Brett was a good man, no two ways about it, and he made an even better breakfast hash.
The congregants, no, audience, laugh mechanically, nearly in unison, before cutting off simultaneously.
For whatever reason, Brett was taken from us before his time. This breaks the heart of myself, Bella Fishbach, and the entire town of Plainview. Matthew 5:4 tells us that those who mourn are blessed, and they will be comforted. But who will they be comforted by?
Cain, from his seat in the back next to Carol, looks around the congregation frantically for any signs of life. There are none as Judas' spell covers the crowd. Cain himself is starting to feel groggy. He blinks his eyes quickly. Judas stares at him directly. Carol grabs his hand and holds it tightly.
They will be comforted by their shepherd.
Cain starts to nod to sleep. He clenches his fist and grits his teeth.
At times like this, it is tempting for the flock to scatter. That cannot be. We are all in this church, or we are all in this together as the congregation of Plainview First Baptist Church. It will be tempting to let that pain, let that anxiety control you, but that cannot be either. We are all sinners in need of comfort, lest we perish in such an accident as Brett's. That comfort comes from the Lord, and I share it all with you as your pastor.
The buzzing begins again in Cain's head, and flashes of Warren are replaced by flashes of Judas. But this time, Cain fights back. He thinks back to the memory he nearly unlocked earlier, of him and his siblings in the dojo together. He tries to grab hold of it.
Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. You love the shepherd, and the shepherd loves you all. Come to me.
A slow chant builds among the congregation. I love the shepherd, and the shepherd loves me. One by one, the congregation begins to fall towards Judas's will. Even Carol begins to join in the chant, entirely against her will. Tears begin to well up in her eyes, but the words still escape her lips.
No.
Cain struggles to his feet as the buzzing intensifies, nearly knocking him off his feet.
As always, there will be some wayward sheep.
No.
They must be disciplined by the good shepherd.
Judas points at Cain directly. Cain is thrown backwards into the lab. Scientists converge around him and strap him to the table. He is trapped once more.
I will have you in my church, Cain, no matter how far the prodigal wanders.
The apparition of Warren appears holding a syringe. Naughty, naughty, aren't we? I'd say it's time for some discipline. Warren jabs the syringe into Cain's left eye, causing him to howl in pain. The young clone catches his breath slowly before turning to look his abuser. The young clone catches his breath slowly before turning to look his abuser in the face.
You were a terrible father.
I'm glad to hear it. You were a disappointment of a son. Warren attempts to jab Cain a second time, but the clone's arm is too fast. He rips himself free from the table and grabs Warren's arm. He breaks it in one motion, then, after freeing his other arm, lifts Warren's whimpering body off of the ground and hurls it through the wall of the lab. Cain leaps off the table, throwing scientists aside like tissue paper, and scrambles to the floor to try to rip it open like last time.
You still have a long road ahead of you.
Black tendrils wrap around Cain's waist and pull him backwards into the darkness. Flailing wildly, he is pulled through a sea of clawed hands, reaching out and scratching the young man with everything they have. Cain screams once more, nearly hoarse. In the church, there is complete silence. Judas stands motionless behind his pulpit, still pointing a finger at Cain. Cain's eyes are closed and no sound escapes his lips, but he thrashes around like he is experiencing a seizure. Carol Jennings blinks and breathes a deep sigh. She looks from Judas to Cain and back again. She begins to pray. Cain is thrown into the dojo, back in the form of two, claws extended as one charges towards him. Two rolls to the side. He takes a deep breath, working to not be controlled. In the surreal dojo, he looks up and sees his old memory. 1, 2, 3, and 4 sitting next to each other as they wait for their combat to begin. Do you guys think we're ever going to get our own spider suits? I'd love one. Something to really set us apart once we get out into the field. I want a hoodie. A hoodie? Hoodies are sick. Imagine how cool it'd be to have a hood on as we swing around. We'd look mysterious. Badass. One steps up to 3 and 4 as they chatter. Just how is the hoodie supposed to stay on? Tape? Cain glowers.
We're never leaving this place.
The 3 look at their moody brother. No, of course we are.
Not until Warren controls us completely.
The group shivers at the mention of their father. That's not true. We'll be out of here eventually. We're Spider-Men.
He'll tear us apart before he sees us free.
One puts a hand on 2's shoulder. 2 brushes it off. We will be free, brother. We switch back to the fight as the figures disappear. The scene replays, and 2 buries his claws inside of 1's chest. Why are you... 2 breathes heavily. Cain retakes control of the vision.
I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this, brother.
The vision shudders. 1 speaks again. Why are you crying? Cain puts his hand to his face. There is a tear there. You saved me from him. Thank you. For a moment, everything stops. Music, everything. The only sound that can be heard is Cain and 1's labored breathing. Finally, Cain wraps 1 in a hug, tearful and free. 1 falls backwards, dead. As the camera pans away, 2 begins to savage the corpse, but Cain rises resolutely.
We can't stop here.
Cain strides through the dojo, ignoring the apparitions of Warren and the scientists that try to apprehend him, stomping into a new vision, one where he reaches out from the mist of the cloning tube. Cain's claws slash through the glass, spilling the odd green liquid all over the lab. With a savage look on his face, he opens the other tubes, allowing 3 and 4 to step out.
Go.
What?
Go.
Following a short recreation of the escape seen in Ben Reilly and Jessica Drew, and we can work on this to make sure the continuity is correct. Cain leaps over a security guard, slashing him with his claws, crashing through Fisk Tower's window, plummeting through the air. The void surrounds him. As he falls, he shoots through blue and purple clouds that looks like a galaxy's nebula. As he emerges from each one, he takes on a different appearance. First, he is Spider-Man again, batting away Doc Ock's tentacles and the massive fists of Midas from El Muerto. Second, Peter Parker, buffeted by explosions and surrounded by the empty bodies of his guardians. Shielding his face, he slams into the body of his father, Richard Parker, spinning away before taking the form of two, avoiding toxic pools and the grasping claws of the Jackal. After dodging a claw, Two looks up and sees the floating cathedral, alone in the void. He dives forward as a tidal wave of green toxic goo rises to meet him. Crashing through the wave, Cain is returned to his own body. He shoots a web towards the island and hurls himself forward. Cain crashes into the plane of the cathedral. He rolls across the cracked stone floor, geodes sparkling beneath him, nearly sliding off into the void below, but catches himself and stands. He swings inside the cathedral, finding himself in the middle of the multicolored sanctuary once again. His stained glass image is nearly complete. All that needs to be added to the frame is his face. Judas himself floats above the ground. He wears flowing white and blue robes, looking much more like a Catholic priest or cult leader than a Baptist preacher. The robes extend all the way to the ground, giving him towering height. Think the Baron in Dune. The pastor holds the last piece, lifting it into place. He speaks.
I knew you'd end up here, one way or another. I thought it might be a good idea to get this over with.
You're no healer. You're a charlatan, preying on the weaknesses of this town to boost your own ego.
Well, if the name didn't give you a hint, I don't know what would.
Cain fires a web at Judas, who vaporizes it with a flick of his wrist. He slings two more, but Judas simply dodges both with barely a move.
Knowing who you were before, I'd expect a cleverer opener than just a plain old web. I own this plane, murderer. How does it go? Apart from me, you can do nothing.
Do you believe even a single word of what you've been teaching? Redemption, faith, truth, any of it?
This gets to Judas. He suspends Cain's mural in the air and sinks down to the ground.
I never needed to. It only mattered that these people, this helpless flock of sheep, believed them. I've been in your place, Cain. Abused, cast out. How do you think I got this name in the first place? Plainview welcomed me in. That was their first and only mistake. This town became my home, and the only one I'll ever need. They looked for a pastor, so that's what I became. It's what you could become. What? You think they could ever hurt you? Hurt us? They fall to pieces at the first sign of misfortune because they believe that God abandoned them. God was never here in the first place. I was.
Swinging his arm to the side, Cain's mural is completed. A twisted, distorted effigy of Cain surrounded by the four heads of Peter, 1, 3, and 4, and shoves it into place in the cathedral window. The cathedral blazes to life, triumphant organ music reverberating from the ground itself. Cain falls to the floor, screaming in pain, sonic instrumentation distorting his own image.
You found yourself, Mr. Cain. Unfortunately, I found you first. Welcome to my flock.
Judas strides over to Cain's body, kneels, and lifts his chin.
You'll do great things for my church.
I will never join your church.
Why is that, my child?
Sinking sand.
Cain's wrist shoots out from under his body, clutching a taut line of web, the strand he'd fired earlier. He yanks the line hard. Judas follows the line to the image of Carol Jennings. With horror, he notices a small hole in the stained glass, one that the web slots through neatly.
Carol.
With Cain's pull, the window falls inwards, crashing through the cathedral. The impact sends cracks through the rest of the windows, allowing Cain to stand.
Your church wasn't as strong as you thought, Judas.
A ripple rolls through the congregation of Plainview First Baptist Church. Several members of the group begin to shake their heads as if groggy. Bella wakes up and sees her father inside the coffin. She begins to cry. With a roar, Judas once again rises into the air, his long robes trailing the ground. Telepathically, he lifts the newly created rubble and hurls them towards Cain, who leaps out of the way. Judas is very careful not to damage his sanctuary, and each piece of rubble boomerangs through the air without making solid contact. Cain uses this against the pastor. Grabbing pews and pieces of the still-playing organ, he deflects the rubble into the ground of the church, causing tremorous cracks to form.
You cannot take this world from me. Out there, in your world, you'll never find the peace you seek. You're a disgusting, horrific monster that should never have seen the light of day in the first place.
It's because of you that I know I was created for a reason. Thank you for showing me how to live.
Cain lifts the pulpit from the stage, emblazoned with Judas's smiling face, and leaps into the air. In slow motion, he dodges rubble flung at him and slams the pulpit into the floor. The ground shakes and begins to fall away into nothingness. As the ground falls, so does Judas. Reaching, grasping for anything, Judas falls into the void of his own creation. With him goes the stained glass windows of the townspeople of Plain, shattering inwards in a beautiful array of sparkling color. Cain leaps onto his own window. Amidst the chaos, the young man rests his head against the many faces of those he loves, tears streaming down his face.
Forgive me.
Cain smashes the window into pieces and leaps through the frame, just as the cathedral completely falls apart. Smash cut to Judas toppling over his pulpit.
Ah!
Cain slowly stands up from his seat and rubs his eyes. He awakens to see the congregation awake, in tears and embracing each other. Judas tries to compose himself. He gets back behind his pulpit and dusts himself off.
Oh, my mistake. Must have been slain in the spirit.
There is silence in the sanctuary, but not because of Judas' control. The town stares at him. Sheriff Jake steps forward.
You did this to us. Huh?
Jake leaves his seat and starts walking down the aisle.
I don't know how, and I don't know why, but you've been controlling us. You've been turning us simple on each other. You've been claiming to be Jesus. And most importantly, you almost made us miss the funeral of a dear brother.
Jake puts a hand on Brett's coffin.
You're not our shepherd. You're some kind of wolf.
Judas blanches.
Well, I'm sure I don't know what you...
Bella steps out of her pew, dabbing tears.
I couldn't even cry for my own dad. My own mother wasn't invited to this funeral. I had your voice in my head telling me to trust you. How could you? How could you do that to someone? Now...
The crowd stirs. Sorrow is becoming anger. Get him out of here!
Go to hell, Pastor.
Judas has lost his control. The formerly suave, genteel minister looks frail and diminished. Suddenly, his face contorts into a sneer as the mask falls away. He points at the congregation and opens his mouth.
When
Carol Jennings cuts him off. She turns to the congregation.
our dear friend was lost to us just a few days ago.
Judas stops dead and shoots an evil look at Carol.
In Ephesians, Paul says,
Carol ignores him.
what Pastor said was correct. The pain we feel is real. We've not had to feel this pain in some time. It's been taken from us as if it wasn't good for us in the first place. That's not how it's supposed to be. Creator God allows this pain. He feels this pain himself as he watches his children here on earth. This is natural. Brett, though, he was a kind soul. Never met a stranger in his life. He raised a beautiful daughter and left an unforgettable mark on this town. His life is an example for us to follow as we remember how much he meant to this town.
Cain, in the back, begins to tear up. Bella's expression softens as the attention switches back to Carol.
You all supported me with so much love and affection when Mark passed. That spirit, that willingness to care, is still here in this town. It can't be snuffed out. Here, today, while we remember the life of someone so dear.
Carol turns to Judas.
Pastor, we thank you for your service, but your services are no longer needed here. We found you to be lacking in the spirit. What? No, that's not how.
The town leaves their pews to form a real visitation line. Bella takes her place by her father's side, accepting hugs and offers for food. Cain, at the back of the line, brushes tears from his eyes. As he moves, he watches Judas.
God will not smile on you all this day.
No one listens. Everyone passes the desperate minister as he attempts to get their attention. Finally, he sees Cain. Here, the demeanor completely falls, and he is the ill-favored manipulator once again.
You're just giving them their pain back. What do you think this town will be like with me gone?
Better off.
There is a tense moment.
You're no god.
You'll miss me when the pain comes back. And then you will be sheep without a shepherd.
Judas, defeated, walks away. He will never be seen in Plainview, Ohio again. Cain arrives at the front of the line. Bella scoops him into a tight hug.
Thank you.
For what?
You know.
Cain pays his respects to Brett.
I owe a lot to your dad.
He'd be proud of you. Wherever he is, he's proud.
Transition to later. Cain and Bella work the counter at Plain Good. The summer's not over yet, and Bella has just a few weeks before she must return to school. But the last period has been nice.
Do you have that waffle order?
The 15 waffle order? What, is the whole Little League eating today?
You mean you aren't going to the playoffs?
Who's gonna watch this grease fire if I'm gone?
I'm sure your buddy Spider-Man could take the flat top for a bit.
Matthew, the kid from much earlier, dressed in his baseball uniform, hops up to the counter.
You know Spider-Man?
Bella.
They're best friends, practically twins. Really?
Cain tries to glare at the kid, but it doesn't work. His scars simply aren't scary enough now.
I also know Dr. Octopus, which means that I can have him come over while you're fast asleep and pluck off each arm and leg one by one.
I don't need those.
Helene and Jake shoo him away.
You're going to be late for your game, kid.
Thank you for the unavoidable nightmares, Cain. You're welcome, ma'am.
Bella smiles and cashes the order. Cut to Carol's kitchen. Cain snacks on a bowl of banana pudding. It is clearly not his favorite.
This is great, Carol.
I'll have you know that it was Mark's favorite, so choose your words carefully, or you might not leave here with your tongue still attached.
Cain chokes before quickly shoveling the rest down. Carol laughs.
There you are. I still don't think you eat enough.
Cain looks out the kitchen window just as the sun is starting to set. It is the height of summer, with fall soon to come.
I couldn't have done this without you, you know.
What's that, sweetie?
Liv.
Carol pauses before placing a hand on Cain's.
You're loved, Cain.
Thank you, mate. Carol.
Mm-hmm.
The camera pans away from the kitchen table and out the window, rising higher until all of Plainview is in frame. Mirroring the opening, birds fly past the camera as the image fades to black. The end.
I'd have had the town tear him apart.
Like Liv from
thing.
Liv?
They would have turned on his ass and like, you know how a mob, you know how like if somebody's controlling a mob of zombies or something and then they all turn on him and they just slowly creep closer and then you just see him like sink into the like flood of people.
Thematically, it's more important for Carol to show the town the right way.
The townsfolk would hate this man. They would kill him. They would hide the body.
Jesus, Jared.
Other than that,
this was really good. This was great, actually.
I liked this.
Amazing, even.
I have one continuity gripe.
sure.
Ben releases Cain and Jessica from the tubes, not the other way around.
Okay.
Could we chalk that all
That
up
happened
to
in Ben Reilly.
Could we chalk that up to being like perhaps in this vision?
I imagine it could definitely be like a psychological thing, like in his mind of
Like he's like, I'm setting you free. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I think let's say that's it.
Mm-hmm. Something that's kind of interesting to me, especially with that extended scene, is the fact that Cain, all of the people, all the clones at least seem to know that they are a clone of Spider-Man, and then for some reason, come the start of Spectacular Spider-Man, Ben Reilly has his memory like completely gone. So, or like his memory of being a clone.
Yeah, at least there for a while when he's there at Oscorp, they seemingly know each other and have like a familial bond.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point between then and their escape, Ben and Ben's escape, he has forgotten all of that. And the plot of Spectacular Spider-Man is him discovering that he is a clone of Peter, going back to Oscorp and freeing the rest.
So I'm going to say that that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of discuss here. It's just like a lot of the clone continuity. This is...
Bro didn't want to watch back Spectacular. I get it. It's not great.
Don't say that about your bitch.
I'm picking.
I read through the Spectacular script and like checked the wiki, and so I'm aware of continuity issues. And like Peyton said, part of the surreal nature of the visions means that these can be kind of put aside as
hand-waved as not being entirely canon, like not exactly
Yes.
how the events played out,
but important for Cain accepting himself. So there's that.
Like it.
I like it a lot. I'm thinking too, like, something else is that perhaps there's something mentioned about Warren wanting to get the clones completely under control and to erase their memory. Perhaps he succeeded with Ben in particular, but didn't get far enough to do that with Cain and Jessica.
I think that's also a very fair thing. I put that in there because I would assume that the more that the clones don't know who they are, the easier it is for Warren to control them, keep them under his thumb. So perhaps a side effect of them being clones means that they know who they come from. And like that bug is what Warren is trying to get rid of.
Right. And then that explains the scene in the holiday special where Jessica meets Ben and is like kind of initially shocked because perhaps what happened is maybe it's like a progressive thing. So perhaps Warren did get as far as erasing at least the memory of the other clone for Jessica, but managed to succeed with erasing the whole memory of being cloned for Ben.
Yeah.
So like Ben has had all of the memories erased. Jessica had and Cain remembers everything.
Yeah.
You said Jessica only had a few erased?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it kind of we've inadvertently worked in a backwards order without even communicating this to each other. But it works. It really does.
Practically made it work.
Yeah. It does work a lot. Like this acts as a sort of major bridging the gap in really solving that mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it works really well. But you know, the main point of this narrative is not how it fits in the greater cinematic universe.
Right.
Of it. I think what really hits is the story between Cain and Judas, and also some of the, like, I really think the biblical parallels between 1 and 2 is really cool. Cain and Abel. And I think that the Judas stuff and the way that he just controls this town, you've made a character that I've been like tangentially aware of pretty interesting. I was never really intrigued by Judas Traveler in the comics because I think he and Ezekiel Sims kind of fell into the same spot in my mind for some reason. And I mean, I must confess to y'all, I have not read a lot of the Clone.
You haven't read a lot of Clone Saga?
I've not read much if any of it.
If it sounds like I'm repeating you, it's because those bits are cutting out and I'm trying to weave it into conversation.
Okay, yeah. I just haven't read a lot of it.
Okay.
And so I'm not particularly interested in an old guy waving his hands around for some inexplicable reason. But Noah, you've succeeded in making him an intriguing character for this universe in particular. And keeping him alive means that we're not dealing with the MCU problem of killing a cool villain and now we have to do a Secret Wars to somehow bring him back.
Yeah.
Or create a bastardized clone or a symbiote to one, recast with the person that I thought should play the character, and two, to bring him back into the story.
I loved the idea of having Sam Rockwell play this guy.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
for
so
sure.
charismatic, and it just kind of fit in my head immediately. Though I mentioned Rustin Cole, I could also see this played by McConaughey. But
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I want to keep Sam Rockwell in this role, though. I think that he fits really well.
I do as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the balance of trying to find, like, never making it preachy, the ending, it shouldn't become a sermon, but still showing that faith does win in the end versus
Mhm.
Judas's hopelessness and control. And I hope I struck that balance.
Oh, for sure. We do have a post-credit scene. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Post credits. Cain, in the clearing, sits on a video call with Bella.
Sometimes I wish I could burn off my fingerprints and disappear into the woods so I didn't have to take these classes. You know, like you did.
Because that's exactly why I'm stuck out here, to live a simple life.
Didn't you used to be a science geek? You should put that big brain of yours to work again.
I was, in another life.
There's an awkward pause.
That was a joke. You can laugh at that.
Ah, phew. I didn't know you made those.
Bella leans close to the camera and starts to whisper.
Promise not to freak out when I tell you this.
Why are you whispering? We're on Zoom.
There's been some rumors going around that you might be interested in. Spider-Man is still around, but he's been a bit moodier lately. Nobody knows what to do with that. But there's some fresh faces on the street.
Oh, really? Like that big wheel guy?
No.
Bella holds her phone up to the camera. A headline from the Daily Bugle reads, Triple Trouble? Spider-Man finds new spider accomplices.
There's two more. And one's a girl.
What?
Cain, I think your siblings are alive.
End.
Alright, cool.
Okay, cool. So
Cool. Alrighty.
I'm excited to potentially incorporate Bella into future projects. Their dynamic's really fun.
Same.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
This may or may not be cut. Luckily Andy has like 3 weeks to edit this, so we can kind of deliberate on it. But
For every hour.
yeah, I imagine that this will be like, we might need to rearrange some stuff in the Act 1 outline of Lethal Protectors 2 to maybe feature a bit more of Cain arriving in New York.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, we can discuss that. Well, guys, I hope you liked it.
This was really good.
This was cool.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it. I'm not sure if it's topping Big Wheel in my mind, but it's very close.
I'll have to think of my tier list, but I don't know, every time you write one, it's a banger. Like, every
Best
time,
thing you've written is your holiday special segment.
Hey, I was really proud of my holiday special segment. So
that was really good. As always, you can discuss this on the official Has to Do with Spider-Man, I think, Discord. There should be a channel up. And also get into some discussions on the YouTube and also on the Blue Sky and the
Boosty.
Instagram. We are trying to get 100 subscribers on YouTube, so share this around with friends, family, co-workers, random people you see on the street, JC Chandor. And yeah, is there anything else y'all want to say before we close it out? Oh, Patreon. We have a Patreon, completely optional. We got a bonus pod that releases every month.
Monthly bonus pod. Yep.
Yep.
Blue Harvest, I forgot to include one here.
Oh my God, no. Red Harvest, the Joe Schreiber book.
I hate
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, this was
was a lot
wonderful,
of
Noah.
fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Okay.
All right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you in 2 weeks for a guest pitch, which I believe I'd have to take another look at the schedule, but I think Dark Universe fans might be in for another surprise this phase coming, if not here very soon, then in in a couple weeks' time.
Indeed. And then after that is Noah's final pitch of the phase. Quick turnaround for the guy. Y'all
Goodness.
keep him in your thoughts. Especially as final season approaches too. So
Awesome.
he's
Prayers.
Pray for this man.
this dude is cooked. Alrighty. We'll see y'all around.
Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.